Two.
Good evening. My name is Doug Milbauer, and as the Center Director, I would like to welcome you to the Coastal Bend Business Innovation Center and Buc Days Idea Challenge for 2023. The Buc Days Idea Challenge fosters entrepreneurship for Texas A&M University-Corpus Christi Islander students and provides an opportunity for all students, regardless of major or ranking, to present their innovative idea to the marketplace. Hopefully, some of these students will continue to pursue a business of their own after they graduate. The 3 student teams presenting their ideas today were selected from an initial group of 60 student applications. Teams come from both the Corpus Christi and the RELLIS Campus in College Station. These students have been working with their university faculty mentors to perfect the pitches you will see tonight. Due to generous donations by the Buccaneer Commission, the Buc Days Idea Challenge is in its 8th year. University faculty and staff donate their time and resources, and the Buccaneer Commission donation is awarded to these students to help them develop and launch their business. We would like to thank Johnny Filippello, the Buccaneer Commission, and their staff for their generous support of Islander students. And thank you to Texas A&M Corpus Christi College of Business Leadership and faculty, especially Dean Brian Teege and Drs. Kent Bias, John Gamble, and Kristen Killian, for donating their time and energy to coach and mentor the student teams presenting today. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Kent Bias. Dr. Bias is Professor of Marketing and Entrepreneurship in the College of Business at Texas A&M University-Corpus Christi. He holds a PhD in Business Administration from New Mexico State University, an MBA from Texas Tech University, guns up, and a BBA from the University of Texas at El Paso. Prior to entering his academic pursuits, Dr. Bias enjoyed a successful career in commercial broadcasting, owning radio stations in Alaska. Currently, he maintains interest in multiple consulting and retail businesses, as well as real estate investments. Additionally, Dr. Bias is a veteran, having served in the U.S. Army and the U.S. Army Reserve. Please welcome Dr. Kent Bias.
Good.
Thank you, Doug. And on behalf of everyone involved in the production, I would like to welcome you for the next hour and a half or so. We're going to be experiencing the ideas and the business possibilities from students at Texas A&M University-Corpus Christi. Now, I'd like to take just a minute to thank Doug Milbauer, who you just met, the director of the Coastal Bend Business Innovation Center, for the incredible help that the Innovation Center provides not only to this event, but also to the entrepreneurial community in Corpus Christi and the surrounding counties. It is a remarkable location. It is a terrific opportunity for entrepreneurs to receive services that they wouldn't otherwise have access to, and we thank Doug Milbauer and the Coastal Bend Business Innovation Center. So today, we are here to introduce to you the top 3 finalists of the Buc Days Ideas Challenge. Now, scores from judges who you will meet will be tallied, and then the winners will be selected after all 3 have had an opportunity for their presentations. Now, the scoring that will be done will be very much a kind of a scoring on some paddles, and I think there's an obvious sequence. Number 1 means it's a less than ready idea, and it goes all the way to a number 5, which is a remarkable idea in the opinion of the judges. Now, you too will have an opportunity to cast a vote for your favorite pitch this evening. Now, the voting instructions are going to be placed inside of the chat box, and they will also appear in some graphics that will appear on your monitors. So we'll get to that later on in the evening. Now, the prize money and prizes that are awarded to these finalists will range from cash prizes for third place, which will be $1,000. I took 500 for myself there just at that moment and then decided I'd give them all the 1,000. And then second place will receive $1,500. And first place not only receives $2,500 in a cash prize, but they also are provided with the opportunity to compete in the Raymond Ideas Challenge that is part of the Mays Business School at Texas A&M University College Station. Now, Whataburger, a terrific corporate sponsor of this Buc Days event, also provides $500 worth of travel expenses to the winning team. And then in addition to that, the most coveted prize of all from Whataburger is that the winning team, the number one team, will receive a Whataburger for a year. Now that's incentive enough for everyone to want to be part of the Buc Days Ideas Challenge. So now we have all of our contestants ready, and they have been selected at random to present to you their business ideas. Now, at the conclusion of each presentation, we're going to ask the judges to either make questions to the teams or to make comments about the ideas that are pitched to them. And you too will have an opportunity to ask a question of the teams, and what we'd like you to do is to use the chat function to forward your questions to us, and then I'll read them as soon as I receive them so that everyone has a chance to respond to your inquiries. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our judges. First, I'd like to introduce Dr. Philippe Tissot. And Philippe is the Conrad Blucher Institute Chair for Coastal Artificial Intelligence, AI, at Texas A&M University-Corpus Christi, and is also a co-principal investigator for the National Science Foundation Artificial Intelligence Institute for research on trustworthy AI in weather, climate, and coastal oceanography, or AI2ES. Now, since his arrival at the Conrad Blucher Institute in 1999, Dr. Tissot's research is focused on the development of artificial intelligence methods for the analysis and predictions of environmental systems with a focus on coastal physical processes. Present projects include developing operational predictions for coastal inundation, navigation, sea turtle conservation, and emergency management. Other research includes studying relative sea level and spatial variability of vertical and motion, other coastal processes, and their societal impacts. You're quite an accomplished individual, Dr. Philippe Tissot.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
All right. Our next judge is Dr. Jennifer Taylor. And Dr. Taylor is an assistant professor of marketing at the School of Business at Texas A&M University-Corpus Christi. She received her Bachelor of Science degree from Clemson University and her MBA and PhD in marketing from Georgia State University. Her primary research interests lie in the intersection of social marketing and services marketing, where she uses marketing techniques and themes and theories to foster service designs that improve consumer well-being and benefit society. Dr. Taylor is an experienced social entrepreneur who advises startup firms, practitioners, and policymakers on the design of products, services, and interventions that require the formation of habitual consumption behaviors that will lead to health and well-being of our society. Welcome, please, Dr. Jennifer Taylor.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Our third judge is Dr. Jack Clampett. Dr. Jack Clampett is a former entrepreneur who helped start companies in the beauty supply business, financial services, and the import-export industry as well, before deciding to join the Academy to help run the Center for International Business and Education Research in Memphis, Tennessee, where he helped globalize the business schools of over 50 historically black colleges and universities. He then taught in the University of Alabama's Executive MBA capstone course, which involves student-led social entrepreneurship and consulting trips around the world while working directly with leaders from organizations such as Microsoft, the Panama Canal Authority, and Properties, the Zillow of Asia, and as a faculty advisor, he helped the winning team of one of their annual Ideas Challenge, quite a bit like the Buc Days Ideas Challenge, whose plan involved bringing a robotic trash can to market. Think about that, a robotic trash can. It's the Roomba that takes your trash out for you. Welcome, please, Dr. Jack Clampett. Well, it's time for us to get down to business now, ladies and gentlemen, and I know that each one of the three finalists that we're going to introduce to you are anxious for you to be able to experience their ideas with them. Now, I'm intentionally going to ask each team as they prepare to unmute and to share their screen so that they are prepared to present their ideas to you. At the conclusion, I will ask the teams to mute their microphones and to then prepare for the next team to be able to share their screen with their presentation as well. So let's get down to business. And ladies and gentlemen, the first team to present to you is the Oplex Clamp team. You can unmute your microphones and share your screens and present to the audience the Oplex Clamp.
Hi, we're trying to share our screen, but it's saying the host has disabled screen sharing.
We've done that intentionally just to confuse the issue for you.
Thank you very much.
Give us just a moment. It looks like it's okay now for you.
Thank you. The amount of individuals who deal with cataracts is at 20.5 million. And by 2028, that number will increase to 30 million people. With the influx of individuals that will need cataract testing, there needs to be a product that can deliver a true, accurate test. Hi, I'm Luke Ragland.
I'm Rosa Isela Cornejo.
And I am Amber Wood, and we are Oplex Clamp. To increase the accuracy of patient testing, the Oplex Clamp is a universal flexible gooseneck clamp that attaches to the proctor and the other end attaches to the bat tester, providing a hands-free, comfortable test for the patient and the tech. Oplex Clamp is able to be used at any clinic in the United States.
Because Oplex Clamp is a universal product, roughly 19,000 clinics in the U.S. do not need to replace their current equipment to improve their glare test performance. We do have one main competitor, the EpiGlare tester, which is an alternative way to test glare at a cost of $2,000.
Our cost to production and our production strategy to produce the Oplex Clamp is to create a Kickstarter campaign. Our goal for the campaign is $80,000, and that will cover our injection molding, our shipping, and our research and development. The cost to make the Oplex Clamp is between $5 and $10, and we plan to sell it to clinics for $60. Comparing that to our competitor, the EpiGlare, which costs clinics $2,000. Our financial goals within the first year are to partner with investors and create those relationships to grow Oplex Clamp and to increase our revenue. Within the first year, we plan to have the Oplex Clamp in 50 clinics, and we plan to have the Oplex Clamp in 100 clinics by year 2. And because the Oplex clamp is so affordable and inexpensive, we plan to not just have one Oplex clamp per clinic, but to have multiple in every single office room in each clinic. And once again, we're Oplex clamp, and we're confident that with your help, we can truly make a difference in increasing the accuracy of glare testing. Thank you, and we're open to questions.
Thank you very much. Group number one, the Oplex clamp. Please stop sharing your screen at this time if you've not already done so. And now we're going to turn to the judges for their questions and or comments regarding the Oplex clamp. And I'd like to begin with Dr. Jennifer Taylor.
Okay. Well, hello, and thank you for your presentation. I do have a couple questions. So you said you expect to have multiple units per location. How, just as an estimate, how many do you think you will have in each location? Will it be 1 or 2 or 5 or 10?
So on average, every clinic will have either 6 to 8 rooms. So we plan to have at least one in each room.
So how much revenue would you expect in year one?
So in year one, just starting out, we would be shooting for around a $30,000 to $50,000 revenue. And then in year two, we'd want to bump that up and get into more clinics and still have the Oplex clamp in every single office room and try to reach a goal of $100,000.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Taylor. Let's hear from Dr. Clampett, please. What are your questions or comments?
Well, I'm Dr. Clampett. My family, we believed in clamp so much and told people so often to just clamp it that the name stuck. So as far as I'm concerned, you've already won. I'm kidding. I'll have to see. You mentioned that according to your forecasts, 30 million people, I guess, in America, what was that?
Yes, 30 million people in the United States.
What percentage of those patients do you think might have trouble holding lights as they currently exist? And
pass that question over to our partner Rosa. She actually currently works in the field, so she has a ton of experience with that.
currently, do assistants just hold the light for them? What's being done today?
Okay. So I would say that about like 75% of the patients, since they're at an older age, they might not be able to hold the bat. It's kind of not too heavy, but heavy enough like if they have arthritis or any other problems like Parkinson's, that will become a conflict for the patient to at least hold it for 60 seconds to read out the letters.
And Kent, are we going around, or should I ask all my questions now?
Go ahead and ask your questions now. If you have others, we'll come back to you. Jack.
Okay. How did you arrive at the $5 to $10 cost estimate?
So I did a little bit of research in manufacturers who create the similar clamp that we showed you guys. And based on the research, the amount that it was costing them to make was about $3 to $10. And I found one that was a little bit bigger that would work well for us. So we totaled on an estimate for around $5 to $10 just based on our research with manufacturers around the U.S.
This is secondary research. You haven't contacted any manufacturers.
Correct.
And you said around the U.S. So manufacturing locally in the United States then?
Yes, we would like to manufacture around the U.S. and then sell our product to the U.S. clinics.
I'm not terribly familiar. Are a lot of Kickstarter campaigns aimed at business buyers, in this case ophthalmology clinics, rather than at retail consumers? And if so, do you know if they have a higher or lower success rate versus normal Kickstarter campaigns?
So based on our research, there's about a 25 to 30% of Kickstarter campaigns that are in the medical field alone. And so ours would be a part of that 25 to 30%. So we feel like we would stick out for sure with that one.
And is that why you went with Kickstarter over, say, Indiegogo? Kickstarter kind of has a niche in that area?
Right. Yes, we did our research with Indiegogo, and Indiegogo just had about a 5 to 10% with doctor products, so we decided to go with Kickstarter.
Sometimes, often, in fact, I think the very best ideas are simple, practical, and they just solve a pain point that exists. And when someone comes up with the solution, I mean, it seems like it would work. I'm imagining, I don't know, what were the name of the chairs, the phoropters? Every eye exam I've had, they look pretty standardized. Looks like there's pretty uniform clamp-on points, and you just kind of wonder why a product like this doesn't already exist.
Exactly.
I think, and your market could literally be global. I think you have a chance to do very well.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Clampett.
Yeah, excellent presentation, good graphics, and a societal need. We like that. In terms, so you want to reach 50, then 100 clinics. What's your strategy, how to approach those clinics? And also, is there any particular region? Do you have a strategy on how you're going to grow?
So right now, since we do have the advantage of having one of our team members who works in the field, we definitely can leverage that skill set, and we can leverage the clinics that she knows and that she works at, and then go from there. We would like to start in the South Texas region and then work our way to broaden our audience around the entire United States. But first, we would definitely start in the South Texas region.
And how many clinics are you already in touch with? And have you gauged if they were potentially interested in purchasing such product or testing it?
So right now we do have the one clinic that Rosa works at that I know they have been really interested in. If we could get this to the market, they would definitely be someone that would use it. We haven't talked to any other clinics besides that, but we have talked to one, and they're very excited to see where this product goes.
Yeah, I would encourage you to do a test, maybe tape it or have something that shows that it works well. And if it's at an actual clinic, that should give you a leg up. And another question also, so you're for the production, where would you produce? And have you thought about quality control? And also in terms of competition, could somebody else just replicate your product?
Right, we would definitely submit a patent pending for our product, and we have looked into that as well. Just cost about $200 for a patent pending, and we have looked at manufacturers in Tyler, Texas that already develop a similar product, but ours is a little bit different on how it is used for the medical field. A lot of the clamps that are out there now are used for workbenches, holding tools, but right now there's nothing like it that will actually be used in the medical field. So we would be able to submit a patent pending for that, and we would be good. There's not an item that's out there right now that is similar to ours at the moment.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tissot. For any of our judges, do you have any follow-up questions that you might have thought while your colleagues asked their questions or made their comments? Jennifer?
I do have one other question. I do agree with the judges that you have potential to take this to market. And one of the questions I have is that you talk about a Kickstarter campaign, and traditionally Kickstarter campaigns are used for consumer goods. So when you create your Kickstarter campaign, there is some sort of value that is given to the donor in return. It can be early access to the product or some tchotchkes or things like that. Have you thought about your strategy as to what value you're going to give to the consumers who donate to you? Because $80,000 is kind of high considering you're a business-to-business product.
Right, so a few things that we've thought about for anyone who funds our idea is partnering with clinics who we could possibly give like a percentage off for an eye exam. So if they fund our product, they could get 5% or 10% off an eye exam. So we've thought about some incentives to where they're not just funding to support a business-to-business product, but they also get something in return as well.
All right, very good.
Jack? No. Billy? All right, very good. Well, thank you to the judges. Now we're going to be asking the audience if they have any questions. And remember, you can ask those questions through the chat box, and I'll depend upon the great crew here to kind of, shuttle the questions to me, and then we'll ask accordingly. Go ahead, please.
Does your product have a strong enough market?
Does your product have a strong enough market, do you?
Okay. So right now there's 19,000 clinics around the US. So I think it is strong enough. We can also potentially start thinking of worldwide as well, where there will be like around like 200,000 clinics worldwide for ophthalmology. So the answer is yes.
Thank you.
Question is, why South Texas? What is your research market telling you?
Why South Texas? What is your research market or your market research telling you?
Research.
And maybe define what you consider to be South Texas.
Texas.
Because you're in South Texas, was that the response?
No. So I don't know exactly how to word it. Sorry.
And how would you?
Go ahead.
So we did choose South Texas because it would be easier for us to market down in South Texas because we already live down here. And that would definitely be around the Corpus area, the San Antonio, Austin area. But we will definitely look in the future about broadening that to a greater area among Texas, around all the states. But we do have about almost 20,000 clinics that we can market. And with the only competitor being the epiglare, we're really confident that we can solve a main problem right now.
All right, thank you. Next question.
How do you ensure to eliminate risk of brand or product infringement?
How have you protected your product from brand or product infringement?
So that would all come to when we would create a copyright for our logo, and we would also create a patent pending for our product, for the design, and then also for the utility usage of the product itself to be used in the medical field.
All right. Are there any other questions? All right. Well, thank you, audience, for participating with us. I think those are good, strong questions as well, and things that every young entrepreneur needs to consider before going to the marketplace. It's now time for the judges to start to, review in their own minds and then reveal their scores for how they judge the Oplex clamp. So let me begin with, I started the questions with Jennifer, so let's start the judging with Dr. Clampett, Jack Clampett.
Oh.
What do you think?
Can y'all see it? Is this pointing right
Looks
at the
like
camera?
a 5 to me.
Yeah, I think the potential is really,
All right.
it's really
and
there.
Remember that the scores are from 1 to 5. So a 5, I'm sure Jack would, be one that would evaluate it if he could with a little marker on the scale as well. But all right. And Philippe, what is your score for them? Also a 5. All right, so we have 2 5s, and Dr. Taylor.
I'm going to give you a 4. One thing to consider as you go forward is people are going to ask you about how often these products are replaced. If you go forward, just be prepared to answer that, and that'll strengthen your argument in your presentation too. Great job.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, team. The Oplex clamp. If you would please, stop sharing your screen and mute your microphone, and we'll make room for the second team to come in as well. Now, I want to remind the audience that you will have an opportunity to score as well at the conclusion, and we'll have a link in the chat box, or we will have a QR code available for you to scan, and then you'll be able to visualize the voting as it's done later on in the competition. So team number 1 has successfully gone through the ordeal. Now it is time for team number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please, you can unmute your microphone and you can share your screen as well. Here in a moment, we'll have all of the presentation ready for their pitch from team number 2. It is Creative Minds Cafe.
Hello, my name is Lily Rose, and I will be presenting to you the Creative Minds Cafe. Have you or a loved one ever had an eye for photography but didn't know where to start or have the access to the equipment? Well, this is what this service will provide for you. So my team consists of myself, Lily, who's in charge of the photography details, Celeste, who is in charge of admin and background, and then Cassandra, who is in charge of the cafe side of things. It all started here at the cafe, where you can go out, network, work with your colleagues, go study with friends, and just have a good time, as well as kind of create ideas and just see where life can take you. Our purpose is to serve the photography and video industry who are in need of affordable equipment and studio space, access to equipment, softwares, safe and a healthy place to work, a place to network with others, give back to the community, and bring a new look and service to the industry. Our market is currently targeted for Tarrant County in North Texas with 2.126 million people, and approximately 970,000 photographers are found in the Metroplex. Who are our customers? A big target is 18 to 29-year-olds because 24% of them are targeted towards the photo and video industry. Our customers also include all genders and low-income households. Just to kind of give you an eye of what we see for our cafe, I'm going to show you a few vision boards. So this first one is going to be about the cafe side of things. We want to present our pastries and yummy snacks in kind of like a glass display case. And then the cafe itself will have like bar sitting area, industrial lighting, just kind of give a nice relaxing vibe so our customers don't feel anxious, but they feel safe and can work as easy as they can. In the middle, you will notice I have a picture of a photo wall, and that is because I would like to include a photo wall into the cafe, not for just random photos, but photos of those who work and come in. We will have a simple menu, nothing too crazy, something just to be nice to the eye. We will have avocado toast, croissants, teas, coffees, and more. Within the studio, you will have 3 different screens. One will be black, white, and a green screen. We will have studio lights as well as a workspace so customers can come in and work and edit on photos and videos, as well as a small podcast area just in case they want to work on a podcast. We'll also have a QR code within the studios. So if someone's deep into their work, they don't have to get out and get disturbed on their mindset. They can just scan the QR code and get things delivered to their studio. For studio prices, for 2 hours for a single person will be $60, and every additional hour to add on will be $10. For a group for 2 hours is $150, and every additional hour to add on will be $15. Our only competitors will be surrounding studios, and they at least start at $600 to $800 for every 3 hours and adding up. So this is a small chart of our finances. It includes things for media, marketing, what we need for tripods, softwares, photo printer, and more. To gain an income, we will have weekly photo and film contests that we will show every week. The photos will be added to the photo wall. We will have live podcast nights. So if you enjoy a podcast, you should come down and see one live. The usage of studio rooms and the usage of software, as well as customers' clients using the cafe services. So the cafe portion will be open to the general public. We have in-house printing options, as well as a tip and donation jar. Our main goals are to be affordable, tell our customer stories, create a healthy work environment, and showcase where the creativity began. And that is the Creative Minds Cafe. Thank you.
Thank you, team number 2, the Creative Minds Cafe. Now, if you would please, if you would stop sharing your screen and be available for the questions and comments from the judges. And I'd like to begin with Dr. Taylor. Jennifer.
Hello, how are you? All right, so my first question is, in your initial application, you had talked about 4 tables and 4 studios. Is that still your plan right now, to have 4 studios and 4 tables in the cafe?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And so you have $60 an hour for 2 hours. How many hours a day do you expect to be open?
So I'm a photographer myself, and just kind of ranging from what I do for a living. I would say we'd probably open up at 8 o'clock in the morning and kind of close around 10 o'clock at night, just because not everyone works the best in the morning and not everyone works the best at night. So it's just kind of open to those who have the best mind space to work.
Okay. So what do you anticipate for revenue from just the studios?
On average, on like an average, you can do it weekly,
Monthly.
monthly.
Can you repeat that real quick, please?
What do you anticipate the revenue to be? Just an estimate for the studios alone.
Because you have
Revenue
several,
streams, which is very interesting.
I personally don't have the best answer for that, but my co-partner Celeste would have more of a accurate gauge behind that question. And she
Okay.
be with us today.
Okay. Very good. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Dr. Clampett.
Hi. I guess with the popularity of social media, Instagram, YouTube, whatnot, there are probably more budding amateur videographers and photographers than ever. I actually live on the beach, and if I look out my back door, it's all I see are people filming for their blog or whatnot. Is that kind of your target audience?
Or
Yes,
are you
it-
aiming for a higher grade, people that are just a little bit more professional than that?
I wanted to be open to honestly anyone in the industry, just because it can be very toxic, especially when you get to kind of like the influencer side of things.
Right.
So I just want to be able to have people who aspire to be like those professional photographers have that space and equipment, easy access to them.
Right. And I forgot, are y'all located in Corpus Christi?
RELLIS?
It's in Tarrant County, so it's kind of like the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But eventually, I do plan on branching out to the Corpus Christi area, and just based off numbers, Tarrant County is a good place to start up for that.
Sure. No,
Place to
that's
start.
good.
I didn't know where you were located right now. Where did you do this project? What class were you in?
Oh, Corpus Christi.
Okay.
The reason I ask is that I had an honor student who, for her honors project, had an idea that was very similar to yours. About 10% overlap, about 90% of it was highly complementary though. And it almost seemed to me like I wasn't exactly sure how you did your market research or your revenue projections, but a part of me wondered if maybe, I don't know if you're open to taking on partners. You've already got a couple, but if you have complementary business ideas, maybe you could share the risk, share the expenses a little bit. If that appeals to you at all, then you can reach out to me afterwards. My other question or comment, this may sound kind of out there, or maybe you know a lot about it already, I don't know. We have an AI researcher with us right now. In his area, I guess AI took off maybe about 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It seems like this year, AI, artificial intelligence, is just taking off everywhere, and arguably one of the 2 most popular areas I see is in art and film and photography. Engines like Midjourney or whatnot that, quite frankly, these open source engines that are available to everyone, they blow Adobe's engines away. Photoshop, I didn't know if there would be any business benefit at all to sort of integrating AI into your shop. I know that a lot of people are very artistic and have an eye, natural eye, but it's really hard to keep up, I think, with some of these new AI engines. And I was just thinking that if I was an amateur photographer, if I was interested in learning more about that area, or maybe exploring just with my own film, with my own photographs, just seeing what was possible, it would really be nice if I could have someone to not just offer me studio space, but someone who also keeps up a little bit with the latest tools and could guide me a little bit there too. On the other hand, I think there's probably also a very strong place for all natural work that captures authentic, untouched, genuine moments, right? Not influenced by AI at all. But I wondered if you've given any thought at all to the influence of AI.
I have thought about eventually adding on some maybe like not necessarily like classes, but kind of like crash course classes. So that way people like those amateurs who are very interested in the subject kind of have an easier way into learning it instead of just being like out in the wildfire trying to like survive on their own.
Yeah.
And I have thought about the AI stuff just because it is very like prominent and you see it everywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like it shouldn't discourage anyone to keep doing what they do just because it's a fun thing. It's like a new take on the life and you can show people what you see and the AI may not see.
Yeah, I
think rather than competing with it, if you incorporated it, you could sort of leverage it and then also have your own branch where it is your own eye, what you can see that the AI can't see. I think that's going to be kind of hard to replace. Yeah, I guess my last question is you mentioned that your competition is studios. Does that mean that you don't really view coffee shops as competition? It really is.
I feel like a big portion of it would be the studio aspect, just because someone can see a coffee shop and like they'll go to a coffee shop, but it's just the studio aspect because we are also like a coffee shop, people may not take it as seriously until they actually get that experience.
Yeah.
Do any studios that you know of offer anything remotely similar?
Not that I have come across. I'm still kind of digging my toes in just to see if something comes up, but so far I haven't come across anything.
A really good thing. You could be the first, right? So good. I think it's a good idea. I hope it works out. I think, yeah, I'm looking forward to watching. That's all.
And Dr. Tissot.
Yeah, cool concepts. I also like talking about classes. I think classes also can build community and customers. So I think that was a good discussion. Mayan, so on the running the cafe side, does anyone on your team have experience running something that sells food, or a cafe? And then in terms of revenues, what's the portion of the revenue stream coming from the cafe?
So for the revenue question, my colleague Cassandra would be able to answer that for you. As far as any cafe experience, they do have some experience like working in like the food industry, maybe not necessarily a cafe, but they have stepped their toes in kind of like what it's like working in the food industry.
How many people do you think you're gonna, because 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. is quite a bit of time. How many people do you think you're gonna have to hire? And
I was looking at around 4 or 5 people. Just because I also am a full-time student and work all the time. I know it's not easy, so it's just kind of like having those people rotate in and out depending on like who they are. So like if people are like working mornings, I'll schedule them for the mornings. If they like working the night shifts, they'll be working in the nights and vice versa.
Have you thought about finding a cafe that has a little bit of room and maybe teaming up where the folks who do the cafe do that, and then you bring more customers and you take care of the photo part, which you seem to know a lot about?
I have not thought about that, but that's a very like good idea, and I'm down to like look into that.
Thank you.
Judges, last opportunity for any kinds of questions. Jennifer?
This is just a really interesting idea that you have. And just like I asked you about revenue, and you know, I just kind of did some rough estimates based on the numbers that you had. And even if you're conservative and you say that out of the 14 hours, that only 6 hours would be booked for each of your 4 studios, you're still looking at $720 per day in revenue. And I think if you do classes and you do some of the other things that Jack was talking about, that you have the potential to be at full capacity, which is just a really interesting business model, I think. And so I think you have potential. And I think it's a really just interesting concept where you can build community and where you can actually take a market that's rather fragmented. You have all of these photographers that are working separately and individually and bring them together in an area where they have common learning that's occurring. And so I do encourage you to try and develop this more. And I think focusing on your revenue streams and trying to understand your revenue streams a little bit more will be very beneficial if you move to the next level. So I strongly encourage you to do that as well. But I think you've done a really great job coming up with a really innovative idea and solving a problem.
So thank you for sharing.
No, thank you.
All right, very good. Do we have any questions from the audience?
What is the demand or interest in this type of service or location?
What do you think the demand or the interest is in the location that you have specified for it?
I would say it's pretty high, especially because the Tarrant County area, since it's surrounded by like Dallas and Fort Worth, a lot of people are coming in to visit and just kind of like tour the town. So it's not only just like your community, it's also people from out of state. So they may walk by the cafe and kind of be like, oh, what's this? And just kind of see what else there is to offer out there.
Another question?
So there are some local libraries that will rent out, let people check out this type of equipment where there may not be a cost associated with it. Have you looked into that or noticed any of that, or how would your product be different?
There are public libraries that loan out the kinds of equipment that you're discussing in your business model. Have you considered, those kinds of outlets, and how do you think that would affect you as well?
I have considered those kind of outlets. How it would affect me is since the price is the overall studio, since it is just like our equipment, and if something does happen to it, it's going to cost us to like buy like a new tripod or something, for example. So it's just kind of like making sure we have some sort of money just kind of back in our back pocket so we can kind of replace something if something breaks or something like that.
Okay, any other questions, Sean? No? Well, thank you very much, audience, for your questions. Those are good and helpful to our young entrepreneurs as well. So now it's up to the judges, and we'd like to give them just a minute to kind of collect their thoughts and make their scoring known. Also want to remind the audience that at the conclusion of all 3 presentations, you will have an opportunity to vote as well, and that way your vote goes into the tally for the ultimate winner this evening. So now let us begin with the judges, and Jennifer, why don't you go first this time?
Okay, I'm going to give you a 5. And one other thing I want you to think about as you work on this project is franchising.
That's right. And Dr. Clamp and Jack.
Yeah, I think franchising is a good idea. Regarding the library, there may be some restaurants out there where you can bring your own bottle of wine. You're offering the studio space. Maybe people could bring their own equipment and drink their coffee. And I know that I study innovation a little bit, and one reason we think that places like Silicon Valley are so successful is the cross-fertilization and cross-pollination of ideas that happen when people in the same field interact and mix after hours. I think, was it Philippe? I can't remember who brought it up, but I do think, I don't know much about the artistic community or the photographer community, but if it is fragmented, and there could be some sort of central meeting hub where everyone could exchange ideas, I think that's a fantastic idea. Especially, I think more people are interested in photography all the time, photography and videography all the time, and they probably need a little bit of a helping hand, and maybe they can meet mentors, and they have a nice safe space to work, and I'm assuming your coffee is going to be delicious. I would go. I think it's a great idea, and I strongly encourage you to pursue it.
All right, and Philippe?
I like the concept too. Thinking carefully about the revenue stream, and if you're ready also for restoration, potentially dividing the two. But I'd definitely come and visit. So give it a 4.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you very much, judges. So now, if you would please, Team 2, if you would mute your microphone. And if we're going to go to team number 3, if team number 3 would unmute their microphone and share their screen, then again, I want to remind everyone that after all 3 presentations, you'll have a chance to vote. And to this point, we have had 2 really good ideas from these young entrepreneurs. So team number 3, have to get a piece of paper here, and this chair's not easily, dealt with as an old fat man. So team number 3, we welcome you to the challenge and to the competition, and this is VET, Very Easy Treatment.
How are y'all doing today? My name is Mackenzie.
And my name is Marie McLeany.
How many of y'all have a cat or a dog, or maybe know somebody with a cat or a dog? Now, we all know these special friends are more than pets and much closer to family members. This is much like my own dog, Kilo. When he was a puppy, he got sick in the middle of the night. When this happens, you have a couple of options. Go to the emergency vet, which means $300 out of pocket before treatment even begins. Or you can wait, which means risking your pet's life. This is why we came up with the idea VET, Very Easy Treatment, where we offer
virtual and mobile care at an affordable price. Our purpose is to combine both mobile and virtual care to create one convenient option for you and your pet. Our mobile service is simply a small-scale vet office inside one of our mobile vans. Here, our vets will be able to provide treatment right at your doorstep. And also, our mobile vans will be able to provide transportation to local clinics if further treatment is necessary. Our virtual service can either be a video call or live chat with one of our vets who can help diagnose your pet's problems and recommend further treatment.
What's really important to us at VET is the usability of our product. We want to help our customers avoid long waits. That's something that comes with traditional veterinarian care. And we also want to help our customers avoid drive time. Drive time is going to add to your commute to, from. It's going to create a much longer appointment time that's not necessary. We also want to help our customers avoid being overcharged. There's a lot of vaccinations, simple checkups that just simply do not need to cost as much as they do.
Our customer is obviously pet owners with either a cat or a dog, and those with a busy lifestyle who may not have time to go into a physical vet clinic.
Something that's also really important is competitive advantage. You may be looking at this saying, I've seen this before. I've seen virtual or I've seen mobile vet clinics advertised. What's important to us is that we're combining all of these convenient options into one simple place to go to. We're going to have our app and our website available 24/7. That's for appointment scheduling, that's for live chats, virtual visits, or even just simple questions that you may have. And our mobile clinic is going to be able to come to your house at any point in time that you may need for those clinic appointments, or even just transportation to another office if you may need extra care.
We're pretty confident in our market potential because a large portion of the population does have a cat or a dog. And since the pandemic, a lot of services have gone online, which has increased the popularity. The U.S. veterinary telehealth market is expected to increase 16.8% from 2022 to 2030. Some of our startup costs would be our app development, which is 40 to 60,000. Our vaccinations would be 70 to 100, and then the virtual vet salary is around 41 an hour. Our mobile clinic startup would be 250,000. And to jumpstart our business, we would look into a bank loan or private investors.
As mentioned, we're going to look towards those private investors or bank loans in order to start our app construction as well as our BET mobile clinics. But we also have 2 other strategies for funding because we know that this is something that we're going to definitely need. Through our first strategy, we're going to look at Texas A&M University Veterinarian School for personnel. That's going to be alumni and students. We want to be able to offer these students with opportunity to earn class credit, experience, and also through a capstone program that we'd be able to partner with the university and offer with them. We'd also be able to offer them 24/7 work hours, which works great with any school schedule they may have, any availability they may have. We also want to look at strategy 2. Strategy 2 is going to be partnering with local clinics in the area. We want to work with alumni, but also we want to expand to any local clinic that is interested in broadening their clientele. This is going to help not only broaden our clientele, but it's also going to bring local clinics that haven't been able to break through into the virtual or mobile field yet. We're going to be able to help them do that. In turn, we're going to be able to provide our customers cheaper options because by partnering with these 2 other options, we'll be able to include bulk pricing through their pricing. And through these partnerships, we'll also be able to offer discounts or referrals for different treatments that we may need to outsource to the different clinics. But if they have a referral from BET, we'll be able to offer a discount.
So our goals are to be accessible 24/7, and we also want to be the most convenient and easiest to use in our market. And of course, provide virtual and mobile care. And like we said, we're going to start local with Texas A&M University, but we would like to expand and partner with other universities and also expand our service options as well.
And once again, my name is Mackenzie Clark.
And my name is Remy McLean.
And we are VET. And we are open to any questions you may have.
Much team number 3, VET, very easy treatment. If you would please stop sharing your screen, which you've already done. And now make yourself available for the judges' questions. And this time we will begin with Dr. Tissot. Philippe?
A great idea. Yeah, I have 4 cats.
I have 4.
Definitely interested in. I like a lot the idea of working with vet students. So a couple of questions there. In terms of the vet students, would there be any training? Would you respond to any kind of call? Would there be a range of services? If and also, how would you go about training and quality control? Because if somebody has a bad experience, then so it's bad for the person, and you would have probably quite a bit of turnover in terms of the students, the vet students, and also bad publicity nowadays. So. Range of services that you would be providing and quality control and training for the vet students.
Absolutely. Quality is going to be at the top of our list for things that we want to provide our customers. And that's going to be like things that we would be liable, like you're saying, training and such like that. We want to look at the students working for us almost as clinical hours for doctors. They're able to come in, see how the process works. We're not going to solely rely on these students to be our personnel. Like we said, we want to work with the university to bring in more personnel, but it's also just to provide them with the opportunity to gain that experience, as well as hopefully through us, when they work with us and partner with us, it'll be somewhat like an internship or the capstone programs where you work with that company, see the example put forward. And then after you graduate, you're going to want to work with that company that helped you when you were in school or helped you gain that experience because you're already going to be well versed in what they provide and what they do.
Okay. And I would advise to have a fairly structured, something you can advertise and share, saying we have vet students and they've gone through some kind of training with more experienced vets. such that I know either when I call you, either I have an experienced vet or I have a student that I know has been through a training. In terms, so you have the strategy of the online and the mobile unit. Are you going to proceed in parallel, or are you going to start with one or the other? And what are you going to put in your mobile unit?
Interesting.
So one thing that we're going to look at too, we've already got it included on our website example, but we really want to include basic needs that we would be able to include on a mobile vet, just like we were talking about earlier with your previous question about like liability issues and stuff like that. That's why we're not going to do any like surgical or anything that's going to require anything further than simple vaccinations or say flea treatments, teeth cleaning, anything of that nature we want to include. But anything that's going to be further, that's when we're going to look to our partners that we have in our system. And that we really just want to make sure that we're reaching all of our customers' needs, whatever that may be. And that's also something that we can look into further expanding the treatment options if we need to. But so far we've focused on more vaccinations.
Thank you, Dr. Tissot. So Jennifer, Dr. Taylor.
All right, so very interesting idea. I like the way that you're merging the online element with the mobile element, but I do have some questions for you. And my first question is, how much are you expecting or estimating that an average visit will cost the consumer?
So the average visits are going to really be based on what are you coming to us for? Are you coming to us for a virtual visit? Then we've looked at prices in other markets, about $20, I think is what Chewy's requires for their virtual face-to-face, like FaceTime visits. Live chat visits, we're not going to charge for that. That's going to be simple things that are veterinarians on hand that are logged on, ready to answer those questions. That's going to be something that we provide them a salary for because they're on our staff, but live chats aren't going to need to be a separate charge appointment. But anything that we provide, like services like vaccinations and things like that, it's going to be dependent on which vaccination you're getting. It's going to be dependent on whether or not this is your first round, second round, how many you're getting at the moment. And if we're coming to you, which is what we're doing, if we're coming to you, then we're going to probably charge a small fee for that. But our main thing is being affordable for our customer. So as long as we can undercut that price as much as we can, we're going to do that.
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding how you're going to pay your startup costs, how you're going to cover that investment. If you're looking at $20 a virtual visit, you're 24/7, which is 168 hours in a week. I mean, how many $20 virtual visits would you anticipate in a week?
Well, just like any company, I don't believe like any company in the first year really wants or really thinks that they're going to turn a profit in the first year as much as break even and build off of that from there on. That's what we're going to look at our first year, is really just building our company, building up to where we at least have 2 mobile vet clinics and we're able to staff our business for the full 24/7. I understand that 24/7 is a lot of time, but I also know as a college student, as someone who works 2 jobs while doing school full time, is that some hours are going to work for some people and some are going to work for another group of people. And on top of that, we really just want to focus on building it in the first year. That's going to come from partnering with, like we said, with A&M and private investors and bank loans, and also partnering with alumni that are established veterinarian clinics. They're going to gain a lot of clientele through partnering with us. So we're going to look to them for those private investors are going to be through them. Where we might not turn a huge profit that first year, we're going to be able to turn a big profit the years to come after that.
So
to move
if you,
forward in this and you go to Mays, you are going to be expected to know what like some sort of basic break-even analysis. You're going to have some cost estimates as to what is a visit going to look like for the customer, because that's your sales revenue. So what are you looking at in terms of your unit contribution, the cost that it costs you to have that visit? So if you're charging $20 to the customer, but it's actually costing you $45, then you're losing a significant amount of money and you're not even close to breaking even. So just try to get some rough estimates. It doesn't have to be exact, but you need to start thinking through, okay, what are some averages that I can apply here? And how can I use that to multiply? Like, what's some realistic? Okay, we're going to be 24/7, but I anticipate, especially starting out, because we're going to, people aren't going to know about us, that I would expect to have 7 visits a day that we would do. Well, okay, that 7 visits tells you how many people you need to hire, and then that will tell you your labor costs associated. And so once you start thinking about things, you're kind of able to back into these cost structures that right now still probably seem very nebulous and very kind of gray, but they are things that any kind of investor, and especially if you go to the next round for Mays, that they're going to expect you to have a little bit stronger of an understanding for. So just try to put some time in working into working on that break-even analysis and understanding the number of visits that you'll need, kind of what price structure you'll be looking at. And you can even use other vets. What are they charging? Well, they're charging $50, but we're going to be mobile and, like you talked about, this more affordable, so we're going to only charge, $30. Those are some great ways to be able to get some data and some information that you might not currently have. And you're just using estimates. You don't have to have exact numbers at this stage. But I definitely think you have an interesting and compelling product and an interesting business idea. But like I said, moving forward into the next level, Mays, their expectation will be that this your revenue sources are flushed out a little bit more.
great job, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Dr. Clampett, Jack.
Yeah, last but least, I'm the judge that's last but least. I just want to make sure that I understand you properly. Are you saying that in the beginning, with regards to the people that are providing the veterinarian advice or treatment, you will not have any employees? It will just be it will be partnerships, partnerships either with the Mays Vet School or partnerships with local veterinarians. Is that your plan?
Your plan? Or do you plan on actually having any veterinarians or vet?
Maybe vet techs for after hours. I don't know.
So we're gonna definitely look into, we definitely want to have hired people on our own team. We don't want to come to these people and say, hey, can you supply us all the manpower, all the money, and all the supplies that we need to make this business happen? I would definitely want to come in with our own vet techs that we bring on. It isn't going to be fully staffed through us at all. We would have to partner with those other people. That's something also like we would use to provide those numbers and provide the lower costs is by partnering with another veterinarian that already has those numbers.
And for like more advanced treatment, we would use the local clinics that we partner with, because we wouldn't do them.
No, that sounds smart to me.
So my understanding now is that you'll have sort of a base level of service that's provided by a vet tech that is on staff. But then your strategy 1 and your strategy 2 from your slides, that sort of is adding to that. Do I understand you right?
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Spoken to anybody at the Mays School yet, or spoken to any local veterinarians?
I do have a few connections through Mays veterinarian programs. We have different colleagues that their siblings are actually alumni A&M veterinarians. And also I have a veterinarian that I've known since I was a child, going there for my own animals. And he's an A&M alumnus that has offered to partner with us if we do decide to keep going further with this business proposal. that is something that we're going to seek out to him to make sure that we have those numbers right, to make sure that we are turning a profit, to make sure that we have the right things on our mobile vet clinics, and that it's realistic, really.
I think when you take it to the next step, I think your core idea is really good. I think when you take it to the next step, the questions that Dr. Taylor wanted you to have answers for, in conjunction with perhaps direct feedback from these people that are going to be directly involved in your strategy 1 and strategy 2, you can incorporate their feedback into your plan, and you can report this as a part of your business plan when you take the next step. That app development cost seems pretty expensive. Have you selected an app vendor yet? How far along are you on that front?
So I'm lucky enough to have a friend. He's an aerospace engineer major over at A&M, and he's actually created 2 different apps on his own separately. And so that price that we included in the PowerPoint in our proposal was something that I talked to him and was like, is this something that's a realistic thing that I could pay you and you construct this app for us? And he agreed upon that.
Yeah.
So while it might not be a realistic number for everybody, this is a good friend that I have that has agreed that he could do that for that number.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if apps already existed that you could sort of piggyback on. I know Chewy's, their app would probably be proprietary, and I'm guessing that they're not going to share it with you. But I think of how telemedicine for people has just exploded, telehealth. And does anybody know? I can't remember who is it. MD Live, who's the main telehealth vendor for A&M Corpus Christi employees and the whole A&M system? I think it's MD Live, and there are other vendors like Push, and I think it's one national unified app. And businesses like yours could simply use their pre-existing app. You wouldn't have to develop a brand new app. You would join their network too. So anybody that's looking for any sort of telehealth type mobile, I guess work for I don't know if that exists on the veterinary front. That's what I'm getting at. I know it does exist on the people front, and it seems like a natural. It seems like if it doesn't exist, it will exist soon. But if y'all know that it does exist, then that might be a route, or maybe one of these organizations might be interested in sort of branching out into veterinary care. I don't know. Let's see, what else do I have? Are y'all familiar with Bayside Mobile Vet?
Dr. Brittany Donald.
Okay, so she's opening her mobile clinic here in a few months. She's building her mobile truck or van, I don't know what you call it, but she's building her mobile clinic right now. I don't know her. I just did a web search because I wanted to see how common this was, because I thought it was such a good idea. I didn't know what I would find. All I found was her. That's it in this whole area. And to me that's good news. She doesn't do, she explicitly says no emergency after hours. I don't know if she does virtual visits at all. It's just maybe the mobile clinic. But if she gets started and gets a bit of a foothold, I think that could actually be good for y'all, because if people get used to the mobile clinic, nobody's going to want to go back. And I know I mentioned before, I live out at the beach in a condo, and I can't remember the last time I didn't see a mobile grooming van in that parking lot. Every time, I guarantee you, when I go home to work tonight, there's going to be a mobile grooming van there. I think the whole world is switching over to sort of telehealth virtual visits, and if it can't be done virtually, you come to me. And it just seems like a natural with pets. One other idea I had, it seems like mobile veterinary service is already actually quite established in Texas for large animals, like for horses and for cows. And I didn't know if maybe, what sort of apps are they using? And I didn't know if maybe you could sort of piggyback on one of those apps. But it sounds to me like you've, I guess, already got a friend who's going to build that app for you, but I'm just throwing out ideas. Yeah, it sounds to me like you've got an awful lot of homework, a lot of work to do on the business side, crunching together the numbers and doing some primary research, talking to potential partners, and really just tightening up your business plan before you take it to the next level. But, and remember, nothing said before the word "but" counts, right? So this is the part that counts. I just think demand in this area is ready to absolutely explode. More people have pets than ever. More people love their pets than ever. we're used to. We expect, in fact, to be able to obtain just about any good or service online, including our own healthcare. I think it's just a natural extension that this is the way that we move. As long as you can overcome the trust barrier, I've got to be able to trust your tech, right? I've got to be able to trust that if it's in over their head that you can bring in an experienced veterinarian, right? But I think the world is really going to move in this direction, and I think y'all could be at the forefront of it. So I think it's a really good idea.
That's all. Thank you, Chad.
Judges, any other questions that you might have thought of or comments that you'd like to make? And Sean, do we have any from the audience? Yes.
Can you tell us again your launch area?
What is your launch area?
Are you talking about launch
Where do
area
you plan
as
on
in like our
launching the business?
location?
Yes, where do you
Oh,
plan on
okay.
launching?
Well, what's great about VET is the growth areas that we're gonna have. We definitely want to start with Texas A&M. That's something we're familiar with. That's something we have connections through, and we know that the Texas A&M veterinarian program has a lot of credibility already built up. So if we can partner with them, that's going to add to our credibility. In College Station, we actually have probably a good 2 businesses that we see running around with mobile veterinarian clinics, which is something that we definitely want to incorporate that market. But College Station, Bryan area to start off, but hopefully after that we could branch into other markets with other veterinarian schools, or even just areas that have local clinics that would love to get into the virtual part of veterinarian care.
What is the cost of a mobile unit, one mobile unit?
We actually have the
250,000.
our mobile clinic startup was average around $250,000. So after that, we look at, like we said, we have base treatments that we want to include in that. But after partnering with the veterinarian, we'd be able to provide more realistic services that we can provide on a mobile clinic.
Okay. All right. Very well. Well, thank you, Team 3. We appreciate VET, very easy treatment. And so if you would please now, if you would mute your microphone, then what we will do is we'll ask the judges to go ahead and start considering their scores, and remind the audience once again that here in just a few minutes they'll be able to vote, and there will be a link posted on chat, as well as there will be a QR code that you'll be able to scan and access the voting software as well. So let's turn now to the judges and what your opinions and thoughts are for VET, very easy treatment. And let's begin with Jennifer, please.
Well, I think you guys did a great job, and I'm going to give you a 4. Keep working on those numbers. You're on to something.
Thank you. And Dr. Clampett.
Yeah, I think Dr. Taylor is spot on. I think Philippe is spot on. I think you do have a lot of work to do when it comes to tightening your business plan and sort of improving the story that you tell when potential investors are asking these questions before deciding whether to invest or join up. But I just think the market potential is so huge. I'm just pulling for you so hard that I'm giving you a 5.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Clampett. And Dr. Tissot. So, Philippe.
A couple of thoughts and advice. I would not compete on price. The service is very convenient. So when you say people are going to save money or so, I think you should not be cheap. I mean competitive, but it's the convenience of your service that's going to, I think, make you run. Also, the credibility is important. If you have an experienced veterinarian friend, create a board and have a board of advisors that has experienced veterinarian, and create processes that will bring trust to your clients, such that they know that you have experience to help you make decisions. Anyway, no, I think it's a great concept, and I'm giving you 4.
Very good. Thank you, judges. So now we have heard all 3 of the presentations. The judges have entered their scores for all 3 of the presented products and/or services. It's time for the audience to be able to access the link in chat or the QR code for you to be able to make your vote and your voice count. And you should be able to see it come up on your screen so that you'll be able to kind of get a feel for what others in the audience are voting for as well. So let's take a minute or so to allow you to access the voting. And then at the same time, I want to thank all of our sponsors, and specifically I want to thank Doug Milbauer and the folks here at the Coastal Bend Business Innovation Center for everything that they do for entrepreneurs in the area. But specifically this evening, they're hosting us for this very important competition that is now in its 8th year, and we hope it continues on for many, many more, because it gives young entrepreneurs an opportunity to face the heat, as it were, to be able to pitch their ideas, and at the same time to be in a position to understand that their creativity is remarkable, and that we truly appreciate the ideas that the students bring to the fore. I personally enjoy the numbers of applicants that we get, because it gives us an opportunity to see a range and a depth of both your understanding of business, but also your understanding of where some of the products and services of the future are likely to be. So with that, do we have any kind of a tabulation of our scores at this point? Looks like I got a thumbs up. And so Sean Elizondo is doing our calculations. The judges have already voted, and then we'll be in a position to make our announcements. Okay, I want to also thank the Buccaneer Commission. They are just tremendous supporters for students in the region. Their entire reason for existence is to make sure that students have access to scholarship money. And then we're just getting ready to go into some of the bigger events that will take place regionally with the Buc Days Rodeo, and then the parades that take place. And now we have another opportunity for us to contribute to the Buc Days legacy as well, and that is the Buc Days Ideas Challenge. So with that in mind, let me take just a deep breath and thank all of our judges. Dr. Jennifer Taylor, thank you, Jennifer. You always do a terrific job, and your comments are insightful and they are helpful to these students. And Dr. Jack Clampett, thank you. You also bring a wealth of business understanding, and in his bio, he said he was a former entrepreneur. You're never a former entrepreneur. You may be a recovering entrepreneur, but you're not a former entrepreneur, because something tells me that your mind is working all of the time. And then I also have worked closely with Dr. Philippe Tissot, and Philippe is quite the entrepreneur as well. So we appreciate his comments, his insight, his expertise in areas that are important to the wealth creation in our region as well. So thank you, Philippe. We appreciate it. So now it is time to announce the winners, and we'll begin with the third place winner, who will receive $1,000 in cash, which is always a good thing. And so we would like to congratulate the Creative Minds Cafe for their idea, their pitch, their presentation, and their creative ideas that were probably generated around a cup of good coffee, and we thank them for that. So there's $1,000 to Creative Minds Cafe. Okay, so now the second and the first prizes. So remember that the second prize is going to receive a check for $1,500. And now all of the contestants are going to receive one-year memberships to the Coastal Bend Business Innovation Center, so that if they find that they need some services to take these ideas forward, they'll be able to call upon the staff and the crew here at the CBBIC to help them in being able to get good information for the launch of their business. So the second place, well, let me also say that the prize money, what you do with the prize money is your business entirely. I'm going to drag this out as long as I can because I like to harass the students as well. They work very hard, and so just to make a real quick end to it, doesn't stimulate their senses nearly enough. And so I am very pleased to announce that the winner of $1,500, the second place, and the one-year membership to the Coastal Bend Business Innovation Center goes to VET, Very Easy Treatment. Of the $2,500, and most importantly, the Whataburger for a year, along with going and competing in the Raymond Ideas Challenge at College Station, will be the team, the Oplex Clamp. So please, everybody here in the room, I can hear you. Let's applaud these winners and thank our students for their applications, for their presentations, and for the pitch. Now, let me see if I have got anything else I need to cover before I request the closing remarks from the director of the Coastal Bend Business Innovation Center. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, here is Doug Milbauer.
I'm gonna leave my.
Now, Doug can just stand back here.
Well, I want to thank Dr. Kent Bias, and I want to thank our three judges for coming in and spending time with us this evening and spending some time with the students. And I especially want to thank the students for your time and effort over the last months, putting these ideas together, putting them on paper, researching and presenting them in front of a live audience tonight. So congratulations to all three teams. We are actually formulating a little better package for you here at the Coastal Bend Business Innovation Center that we will email to you. So if you have any interest in that, you can reach out to us in the next week or so after you've had time to digest it. But we'd like to see you take these ideas and do something with it. I know we have first place, second place, third place, but quite frankly, these three ideas all have credibility. And we think if you put a little time into the research and a little bit more time in the development, you may be able to turn this into something. So we're very interested in helping you achieve that goal if that's the direction you want to go in. But enjoyed having everybody here. Thanks to everybody who participated online. The questions were great. I was monitoring them in the chat room. We'll make sure that the teams get your questions. And if you think of anything else, go ahead and shoot us an email over here. We're happy to pass it along. So thank you to our production team. You guys did a great job tonight. I think it was pretty flawless. At least the comments I got from the online audience indicated that it was. So thank you very much for that. And good evening from the Coastal Bend Business Innovation Center.